Hello, Schmid-E, Apogaea Historian here, and sitting down for a quick historian interview today with my old friend Charlie Smith.
Hey there.
Who is one of our Apogaea 2024 funded artists with his Red Hot Rodeo that he brought to Apogaea this year. I have known Charlie Smith for about 25 years. We met a long time ago, and I was involved with helping him with the Gantry, which was one of his sculptures. Took it down to Flipside. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the influence that single piece of art, which this man created, helped be a catalyst for the creation of Apogaea. So let's start with, you want to tell us just a little bit about your history and the history of the Gantry, maybe?
Well, I can tell you, I've been doing the Burning Man since 1998. I realized when I was invited there that I was like a place I could go and experiment with my style of work that I wanted to develop in my career, and it just opened a lot of doors. And so what I ended up doing, I like my work is a lot about my Nordic background and the Nordic mythology. And back in those early days, I was really exploring that with the symbolism of the curvilinear lineage and stuff from the ships and the seagoing vessels, and just the history and the mythology of all of the wonderful Icelandic and
cool. And I didn't know that. And the Gantry definitely represented a lot of that. Now
and originally the Gantry was built. It was I was given a grant by Burning Man to do the encompassment project, which is the analysis of the encompassment, and there was 4 of them that were built, that were wheeled fire carriages that we would go around the whole city every night. We'd take a different one. And then on burn night, we actually lit the whole fire conclave with the fire sculptures. And the Gantry was one of those 4 pieces.
Yep.
And that's where the introduction to Michael Moss came in place. And the whole fire conclave from Colorado and all that business, we all joined forces and met. And he was like, "Hey man, would you really be willing to gift one of those to us?" Because I was like, "Hey, why don't I come? I'm going right through Colorado. Let me bring this and drop it off with you, and you can use it to stimulate your community." And that's what we did. I came with my crazy band of knuckleheads from the Southeast, and and I mean, even back then, my crew is from all over the United States. So it's never just been Georgia people. It's like people from all over, from California, New York City, Minnesota, Florida. Everybody's always coming from somewhere else, Tennessee. And now, and I always wanted to come to this event in Apogaea, but the Gantry then went and enacted, it became a central figure for a whole bunch of wonderful winter parties, and kind of really got the vibe going as a centerpiece to collect around. And it was used in the Infinite Oasis parties for Carnivore Lounge or something like that. I can't remember exactly what they call it, but where it's like that. I came out for one of those events and had a really great time. I came to a few of the parties that were up in Steamboat Springs as well, and watched that develop. And then I developed a whole rapport with folks here,
all of us.
And that's how I kind of built my community in Colorado a long time ago. Then we all camped together. I built a centerpiece for the Infinite Oasis. We ended up bringing the Gantry back out to Flipside, and then we brought it back out to the desert. We moved I was moving sculptures around the country pretty much all the time for the early 2000, 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And that's what I was introduced to him as well. And that's kind of my history of it that I just put together recently, was that Gantry, before Apogaea was even founded in 2004, we had a small Burning Man collective in Colorado doing events. Nothing was a legitimate regional burn. And so before we even were thinking about the Apogaea thing, the Gantry was a single piece of art that was created that literally sparked a community out of this central piece. Because we would go with Charlie with a crew of Colorado people, and we'd go to Flipside, and we would help him assemble it, deassemble it, load it back up, and bring it all the way back home. And so every time these things were happening, everybody's getting to know each other better, and the community keeps building from that. And that ends up being something that, from that comes Apogaea, because all these central parties, with Gantry being literally the centerpiece of that, created a community of people that are working together with a common goal of like, hey, we're going to do great events. Let's maybe legitimize this. And so that was the beginnings of Apogaea without us even knowing it at the time. So that's kind of what I just wanted to share, is that the power of art, and one piece of art that can be one person's idea, can not only create a community for you, but you've created communities all over the freaking planet because of things like this. Just that was something that I was reading, some old posts that were posted by Michael Moss, who, for people that don't know, was head of Colorado Fire Conclave for a long time, and got a lot of the Colorado Fire Tribe into the Great Circle at Burning Man. And again, this gantry was always right there. All of the fire spinners were always around the gantry. It was like our beacon and things like that for all of our parties, and it would burn for days. And and throughout Apo's history, it was at many of the original Apogeas, and it got so disheveled after a while that the community banded together and kind of rebuilt it, which was super cool because it was so important to us.
We came and did a workshop and rebuilt the sculpture in Denver. It was burning up good. It got used really well. It
got used a lot.
It was a very, very useful tool in this community. And one of the things that I saw right away, with bringing the fire, even all the way back to the beginning of what the gantry was about, but the Nous are a safe haven. That's what that word's for. And so what the philosophy is around my work, even though it may be a little dangerous at times, the interactivity is that you can come up upon this thing, and anyone can come up here. It's kind of an allure. It's a fire. People are good at the natural instinct is to gather. It's always a safe space. I always wanted to have a space that anyone can be at and feel comfortable and not feel like they're being ostracized or not part of it. And that's been the vibration. Like, that's a meditation behind the pieces that I build, is that it's really built for the participant to gather around with their friends and share memories and make memories and share and develop experience. And then it got to the point where after doing that series of sculptures in 2002, by the time I got, and then we were doing the tunnel of transformation for the Infinite Oasis, which was the big Colorado collective camp. And then the following year, 2000, that was 2003, and then 2004, I'd been touring those sculptures all around the country at all the different regionals, and that were going on the west and the central United States. And I was like, man, I want to really tie the community together, and show them how to do what I do. And so I developed a project called Synapses in 2005, which we did 6 sculptures in 6 cities. And we went to each regional area and built a sculpture and then left it there. And then that community brought it to Burning Man. They all met each other that had all shared the same experience of creating an object together, putting their symbolism into it, and then burning it together on the playa. And that was the year that Nasty had passed.
Correct. So it ended up becoming a memorial.
We ended up doing a huge memorial.
We're doing an interview.
Blue Panty Pie.
You're still going?
The part where I'm getting blasted. So, yeah. That really brought, because we had just spent 2 years together as a core group at Burning Man with a whole bunch of the people that started this band. That was like, it just got really going.
Yep.
And a whole bunch of the newer people, and that's where that whole ceremony for him that night, where we were doing fuel bombs into the fire sculptures, and just sending him off on his merry way
with his ashes in there.
Yeah, his ashes were in
Absolutely.
the pieces and all that cool stuff. And it was pretty good. It really created a bond, you know.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
It was a stimulation, because then it was like the community is not only involved around that piece, but then the United States community of the Burning Man.
Absolutely, and it brought many different cities together from all over the country, culminating at Burning Man.
And that was a way for the
Expands the community.
networked. It was networking, the what I call the hive mind, genius mind that you meet out here at these events. It's sort of like a genius magnet in a lot of levels. That's how I've always looked at the Burning Man community.
I like that.
And I've met so many amazing inventors and thinkers in this realm that's kept me tied into it for all these years, because I fell in love in 1998, and then it just never stopped, really.
There you go.
And I continued to do work, and it's so excited for me to be able to bring this work here this year, because I have never been able to come to this, because usually in June I'm doing other festivals and it's just never been lined up.
Yeah.
So for me to be able to bring this kind of an interaction with the rodeo, where you're actually riding the ride,
Interactive art, dangerous but fun.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's organized chaos.
Absolutely.
And you know, on a shoestring. So, you know, and you know, to be able to operate without any real incidents for years and be able to trust my community is a really big thing. And that was one of the exercises early on in like leaving a sculpture in a community, was a huge trust thing for me as an artist and just as a craftsman and just as a person. And the community of Burning Man was the one who helped instigate that. And I was like, well, you know, that's what these are. These are about community. So this should be out there.
Yeah.
And that's where the whole other realm.
And to me, that's a great example of the gifting principle. That like you're gifting art to a community so that it can create its own things from it and its own community from it. So, well, Charlie, I want to thank you on behalf of Apogaea as well. We are so excited to finally have you, who's been doing this for 26 years, bringing your art personally and coming with the art this time. It's awesome to host you. It's great to have you here.
We have been excited.
We have this Colorado community of burners owes you a debt of gratitude for your beautiful dreams that you had way back in the day that helped literally create this event. Thank you so much, and
Pleasure.
I love you, and hope we get to spend even more time with you.
I'm looking forward to it, man. It's an honor to be here.
Right on.
I love it.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, man.